Have you ever woken from a dream and realized you've been there before? Not just a similar dream, the exact same place. A hotel you've never visited in waking life, yet you know every corridor. An elevator that takes you to floors that shouldn't exist. A garden that feels like a doorway to somewhere else. A forest where you've been lost 100 times before. A hall of mirrors where the reflections don't quite match. You're not alone. Millions of people return to these same places, night after night, year after year. They've even given it a name, Mall World. And when people started sharing their experiences online, something strange happened. They realized they were dreaming of the same place. But what does it mean? Why do we return to these places? And what are they trying to tell us? This is Mind Trap, the places you return to. Part 1, Why We Return. Nearly 2/3 of the population report having recurring dreams. Dreams that repeat. Locations that persist. Some people visit the same dream location for decades, their entire adult lives. Sigmund Freud believed recurring dreams represented unfulfilled desires, repressed conflicts, unresolved traumas from early life. Carl Jung went deeper. He believed these dreams connect us to something called the collective unconscious, a shared psychological inheritance, symbols and patterns that exist in all human minds, passed down through generations. But modern psychology offers a simpler explanation: unresolved emotions. If you don't process something during the day, your mind will try to process it at night. And if you still don't resolve it, the dream returns. The location persists. The place becomes the stage. And your unresolved conflict is the play that keeps running. But why specific places? Why malls and hotels and forests? Because places hold emotions. When you visit somewhere meaningful, you don't just see it, you feel it. And your dreaming mind uses those feelings as building blocks. It constructs worlds from your emotional architecture. The question isn't why we dream of places. It's why we keep going back to the same ones. And the answer is because we haven't found what we're looking for yet. Part 2, Mall World. In 2024, a Texas artist named Jessica Tilton shared something unusual on TikTok. A detailed map of a mall she'd been dreaming about for years. The video went viral. Over 1 million views. But that wasn't the strange part. Thousands of people said they recognized it. They'd been dreaming of the same mall. A subreddit called The Mall World now has over 20,000 members, all describing the same place. They describe shared landmarks, a massive fountain, a certain escalator, a food court that feels wrong somehow. The malls are always vast, maze-like, and empty. Escalators lead to floors that don't exist in any real building. Stores have names you can't quite read, products you can't quite identify, and there's a feeling that permeates everything. Nostalgia, confusion, emptiness. To understand Mall World, you need to understand what malls meant to a generation. For those who grew up in the 80s and 90s, malls were cathedrals of commerce. They were where we learned about identity, through consumption, through comparison. But malls are dying now. E-commerce killed them. And when a cathedral falls, it leaves a psychological void. Mall World may be our collective unconscious, processing this loss. Dylan Selterman, a professor at Johns Hopkins, offers a more scientific explanation. People have similar dreams because they have similar experiences. Malls are universal. It's not that we're sharing a dream space, we're sharing a cultural memory. In dream interpretation, malls represent choices, the search for who you are, all those stores, all those options, representing the endless decisions that shape our lives. Being lost in a mall means being lost in life's choices, overwhelmed by possibility. And if you keep returning to Mall World, something in your life remains unresolved. You're still wandering, still searching for something you haven't found yet. Part 3. The Liminal Hotel. The hotel appears in millions of dreams, an endless place of corridors and rooms, hallways that never end, rooms that multiply. You check in, you get a room number, but something isn't right. The number changes when you're not looking, and when you try to return to your room, you can never find it again. Hotels in dreams represent transition, the space between one life and another. You're not home, you're not at your destination, you're somewhere in between. Hotels are where we can be someone else, anonymous, free from our regular identity. In dreams, this becomes literal. The hotel is where you try on different selves. Each door is a choice, a path not taken, a version of you that might have been. Recurring hotel dreams often appear during major life transitions. Job changes, relationship endings, moving to new cities, times when you're between chapters. Feeling lost in the hotel means feeling lost in transition, unable to find your footing. The corridors that never end represent transitions that never resolve. Some interpretations suggest hotel dreams mean you're closing yourself off. Each room, a wall you've built. Too many rooms, too many barriers between you and genuine connection. But hotels can also represent what we desperately need: rest, escape, permission to stop. If you keep dreaming of hotels, ask yourself, what transition am I avoiding? Or perhaps, what rest am I denying myself? Part 4. The Interdimensional Elevator. The elevator is one of the most powerful symbols in dream psychology. Carl Jung saw elevators as vehicles for traveling between levels of the mind. Upper floors represent consciousness, higher aspirations, the parts of yourself you know. Lower floors, the basement, that's the unconscious, the parts you've buried. Going up in an elevator dream often means hope, ambition, rising above your problems. Going down can mean depression, setbacks, or it can mean something else, a journey into the depths to find what you've hidden from yourself. And then there's the stuck elevator, the dream that haunts so many. Trapped between floors, going nowhere. This represents paralysis, indecision, inability to move forward, feeling trapped by circumstances. But recurring elevator dreams often feature something stranger. Floors that shouldn't exist, numbers that don't make sense. The elevator takes you somewhere impossible, and when the doors open, you're somewhere else entirely. This connects to internet folklore, the elevator game, a ritual supposedly allowing travel to other dimensions. Press the buttons in the right sequence, and the elevator takes you to another world. The folklore captures a psychological truth. Elevators in dreams do take us to other dimensions. Not physical dimensions, psychological ones. Different levels of who we are. Each floor is an aspect of your psyche. Some you visit willingly, others you avoid. If your elevator keeps malfunctioning, ask yourself, what floor am I afraid to visit? What part of myself have I locked away? Part 5. The Portal Garden. The garden appears differently for everyone, but it always feels the same. A threshold, a doorway to somewhere else. In dream psychology, Gardens represent your inner world, the place where your true self grows. The soil is your unconscious. The plants are your thoughts and emotions. The garden is your soul's landscape. A thriving garden suggests a healthy emotional state, rich inner life. A neglected garden means something has been abandoned, potential left to wither. Tending a garden in your dreams means you're working on yourself, cultivating growth. But the gardens that recur often have a specific quality. They feel like portals, gateways to somewhere else. Gardens exist on boundaries, inside and outside, cultivated and wild. They're liminal spaces, places of transformation. Seeds become plants, buds become flowers, death becomes compost, becomes life again. Gardens are where change happens, and in dreams, they often mark personal transformation. People report garden dreams during times of profound change. Sometimes the dream reveals a part of the garden you never knew existed, a hidden section of yourself, potential you haven't explored. Pay attention to what draws you in the garden. What are you being called to cultivate? And pay attention to the edges, where the garden meets the wild. That boundary is where the portal exists, the doorway between who you are and who you could become. Part 6. The Endless Forest. The forest, humanity's oldest symbol of the unknown. Before there were cities or malls, there were forests, and we told stories about getting lost in them. In every culture's mythology, heroes get lost in the forest before finding wisdom. Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel. The forest is where transformation happens. Children go into the woods, adults come out. Carl Jung saw the forest as the ultimate symbol of the unconscious mind. Vast, dense, full of things we can't see, things that might be watching. A clear path through the forest represents a well-navigated mind. You know where you're going. Being lost in the forest means confusion, a lack of direction in life. Jung wrote about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we don't want to acknowledge. In dreams, we often meet the shadow in the forest, the aspects of ourselves we've rejected. These encounters are invitations to acknowledge, to integrate, to become whole. When we accept our shadow, the forest transforms. What was terrifying becomes navigable. If you keep dreaming of being lost in the forest, something is calling you inward. Some part of yourself wants to be found. The recurring forest dream often has a specific quality. You've been this exact place before. You recognize that tree, that rock, that stream. This is your psychological landscape, your inner wilderness, and you keep returning because something here needs your attention. What are you searching for in these woods? What have you buried here? Part 7. The Hall of Mirrors. The Hall of Mirrors is perhaps the most psychologically intense of recurring dream locations, because in the Hall of Mirrors, you're forced to see yourself, and yourself, and yourself again, from every angle. Some reflections show who you were. Some show who you might become. Some show who you wish you were. And some show what you're afraid to see. In dream psychology, mirrors represent self-reflection, the act of examining who you are. A clear reflection suggests self-acceptance. You see yourself truly. Distorted reflections indicate confusion about identity. You don't know who you really are. Cracked mirrors suggest a fractured sense of self, parts that don't fit together. And the most disturbing, looking in the mirror and seeing someone else entirely. The doppelganger, your double, a figure that has haunted human psychology for millennia. In folklore, seeing your double was an omen, usually of death. Jung interpreted the doppelganger differently. It's your ego splitting to examine itself. You become both observer and observed, a way for the psyche to see itself. The doppelganger often carries something important, a message from your unconscious. If you see yourself in the mirror of dreams, don't look away. Ask what you need to see, what truth you've been avoiding. The Hall of Mirrors stops recurring when you're ready to see yourself clearly, when all your reflections finally match the person you've become. Part 8. The Science. What does neuroscience tell us about recurring dreams? Dreams occur primarily during REM sleep, when the brain is highly active. One theory: dreams help consolidate memories, processing experiences into long-term storage. Recurring dreams may represent memories or emotions that keep needing processing. Another theory: threat simulation. Dreams let us practice responses to danger. Recurring threatening dreams might be your brain running fire drills. The most widely accepted theory: emotional processing. What you don't process while awake, your sleeping mind attempts to handle. And if it remains unresolved, the dream returns again and again. Research shows 75% of adults experience at least one recurring dream in their lifetime. They often correlate with periods of stress, transition, emotional difficulty. And here's the hopeful part: they fade. As you resolve the underlying issue, the dream changes, becomes less intense, less frequent, until finally it stops. Your mind no longer needs to send that message. You received it. But what about the shared dreams? Mall World and its 20,000 members. Scientists are skeptical of literal dream sharing. There's no mechanism for it. Similar experiences create similar dreams. That's the rational explanation. But Jung would say we share something deeper, not dreams, but the symbolic language beneath them. Universal archetypes, shared human inheritance. Perhaps the mall is becoming an archetype, a universal symbol for our age, just as forests and mirrors have been for millennia. We don't share dream spaces, we share psychological architecture. Part 9. The Message. Mall World. The Liminal Hotel. The Interdimensional Elevator. The Portal Garden. The Endless Forest. The Hall of Mirrors. They share common qualities: vast, maze-like, liminal. They're all bigger than waking spaces, overwhelming in scale. They all have places where you can get lost, where the path loops back or disappears. They all carry profound emotional charge, and they all ask a question, the same question. What are you avoiding? What transition won't you make? What part of yourself remains unexplored? Where are you truly lost? These places keep calling you back because you haven't answered yet. If you want to understand your recurring dream location, start documenting. Write down not just what happens, but how you feel. Ask yourself, what in my waking life feels like this place? If you found yourself in any of these places tonight, you're not alone. Tell us in the comments, what's your recurring dream location? The mall? The hotel? Somewhere we didn't mention? Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Next time on Mind Trap, a windowless skyscraper in the heart of Manhattan. No signs, no visitors, and a secret that's been hidden in plain sight for decades. Hidden in Plain Sight, coming soon.